welcome everybody. Happy Labor Day, and hope y'all all had a great Labor Day. Yesterday we had a big party here with some of the folks on the line, Olympia and her husband. Not a big party, a small party.
Thank you.
Because my wife wouldn't have a big party. I was glad to have any kind of party, but my birthday was on Saturday, and then yesterday we had friends over to have some cake and ice cream. And today we've been with family, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Dee's brother and sister and their grandkids, and my daughter's here and my granddaughter who flew in from California to celebrate the birthday with her grandfather. So we've had a great Labor Day, and we decided to go on with the show and do Mailbag because so many people have sent letters and questions. Feel free, folks. Remember, you can send letters and questions that we will discuss anonymously, right?
Yes, dear.
All right, what else you need to tell them?
We're going to be short and focused. It's been a long day. People have holiday. It's been a long day for me.
It's been a long day for you?
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Questions. Let's get to it.
Get to it. Mailbag. Let's pull stuff out of the mailbag and see what people have written.
You're so dramatic.
All right, here we go. By the way, still have the option for those who need it, who want to improve their relationship, to go to our relationship repair series. We want to encourage people to go and get that. If you want to grow and improve your relationship, it's a 5-part series: communication, money, sex, family manners, blend the family, and a 6th free session on the 11 biggest mistakes people make in relationships and how to fix them. So go get that at jolleymarriage.com/events. Order it, download it on demand. Okay, so thank you, Sherry Elliott. My birthday, thank you again, and I thank you so much. And I thank everybody who sent such nice notes, and I'm grateful for another trip around the sun. Yes.
Interesting how you started using that. Where did that come from? A trip around the sun.
I heard it and I liked it.
I liked it.
Yes, Emmanuel, you can ask questions if you like. Put it in the chat, or you can send, put it in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer if there's opportunity. Let me read this one. I'm married to my college sweetheart for 47 years. In the beginning, we had a great, trusting, and loving relationship. We finally had our first son after 8 years of trying to conceive, and slowly things began to change. I wanted to start planning for the future and making sure we had plans for our son. Then 8 years later, our second son was born. I'm still asking for us to sit down and plan for the future. To sum it all up, we still have not done that. I am now retired, and he is also but working part-time. So needless to say, we don't have any time together, or at least the past 4 or 5 years. Every time I try to engage in this conversation, it is an all-out argument where there's no communication for days, weeks, and yes, months. I'm so tired of this that I am contemplating divorce. Oh, Lord. We are both Christian believers, and we are in a Bible-believing church, and we know God's hierarchy for marriage, so divorce is not really an option for us. On the outside, it looks right, but within our 4 walls, there's a different story. My husband hides behind the same adage. He says that he can't talk to me, and he said he already knows what I'm going to say. My question is, how do you know what I'm going to say if you don't talk to me? We have absolutely no communication about us other than discussing our grown sons and their family. I'm afraid I've asked him what he wants out of the relationship. No answer. All right. So what do you say to that situation, Dee?
I think you need to read it in segments, Willie, because first of all, you just read it too fast.
Well, I gave it to you. Okay,
if I were not reading over your shoulder, you have to go back and divide it up in the parts, Willie. I don't know about anybody else, but what?
I'm gonna give it to you. You want to put it in parts? Read it in parts. I've given them the letter, and my answer might be different than your answer. My answer is, sounds to me, Miss.
Could we please read? Did anybody else miss some pieces to this?
Okay, go through it.
Because you read too fast.
Go through it. Go through it. Go through it. Go through
I
it.
need some guidance because I'm at my wit's end.
Okay, what's it?
I am married to my college sweetheart for 47 years.
Okay.
47 years. We've been married
37. Right.
They've been married for 47 years.
But don't seem to be happily married.
In the beginning, had a great, trusting, and loving relationship. We finally had our first son after 8 years of trying to conceive.
Okay.
Slowly, things began to change. I wanted us to start planning for the future and making sure we had plans for our son. Then 8 years later, our second son was born. I'm still asking for us to sit down and plan for the future. To sum it up, we still have not done that. The future has come.
Future has come and gone.
The future is always ahead. I mean, so they've been doing this for 47 years. I don't know. Okay, all right, wait. To sum it up, we still have not done that. I am now retired, and he is working part-time. So needless to say, we don't have any time together for at least the past 4 or 5 years. Every time I try to engage in conversation, it's an outright argument. But there is no communication for days, weeks, and yes, even months, and so I'm tired. I'm contemplating divorce after all these years. We're both Christian believers, and we're in a Bible-believing, teaching church in, I can say where it is, Dallas, Texas. We know God's hierarchy for marriage, so divorce is really not an option for me. On the outside, it looks great, but within the 4 walls, there's a different story. Okay, so now I understand.
So you got it now?
Yes, dear.
All right. So let me just say, Terrence said they sound like they're tired and worn down. That letter made me exhausted. First of all, she's been talking about this same issue. I want to plan for the future for a long time, and he has not responded to her satisfaction. Here's something I had a conversation with another person I'm coaching.
The future has happened.
His wife is about to have her first child. She's in her early 40s. He's in his 50s. And she's planning 6-7 months out when the baby gets here, where they're going to have the nanny live. And he said, I've had a child before. You don't have to plan. But you know what? Here's the question. That women tend to be planners. And that's what she wants from him. He's saying, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. My wife will ask me some things over and over again. And I say, don't nag. So it sounds to me like the answer to the lady's question, what should she do? Don't nag. Just say, this is my concern. Let's just discuss what the future will look like. See, the future is come and gone. The kids are grown. So what does it, he's saying, what is the future that you keep talking about? What are we planning for? So maybe they need to have a time to discuss their goals and dreams. That's what I want us to focus on, discussing the goals and dreams. So did that make sense to you? And so, ma'am, if you're watching, just say, let's just talk about where we're going to go, what our goals and dreams are, rather than planning for the future. He already said, I got the future. I'm not going to talk about this again. You're getting on my nerves. You keep nagging about it. What do you want? Just say, let's sit down, talk about our goals and dreams for the next year, next 3 years, next 5 years. That's what we do. We talk about our goals and dreams.
Well, maybe the issue is, I want to plan for the future. Maybe it's too nebulous.
Maybe that's it. To say plan for the future. I don't know what that means.
I would say, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean, plan for the future?
Do you want to plan for the holiday? Do you want to plan for next year? Do you want to plan 5 years out? Well, I mean, the kids are up and gone. Do you want to plan where the kids are going to go to school? Sometimes just being too general can drive people off the rails because they're like, I have no idea where you're going with that.
That's correct. It sounds like it's nebulous. And she keeps coming back. In her mind, she's articulating it. In his mind, he's saying, she's just spouting off. What do you want? I'm tired of talking about this. I'm not talking about this no more. You done got on my nerves.
So maybe there's this word specificity. Exactly what are you asking him to do?
Right.
To plan. Y'all already retired.
And she says that he's part-time and they don't get to see each other. He only works 4 or 5 hours. Hold up. Y'all in the house all the time. He is staying away from you because you keep bringing this up because he's not clear what you're saying. So rather than being nebulous, here's our recommendation. When he comes in and say, I just want to plan the next year. I want to plan the 5 years. Where will we be in 5 years? What do you want to do? So
here's another approach. Here's some ideas, recommendations, whatever the appropriate word is that would not make him feel intimidated. Honey, I have some ideas for where we should be going for the next year or so.
Okay. That's
so
good.
Sometimes instead of just dumping in, well, what are we going to do next year? Come to the table.
With some ideas.
I
think that's brilliant. I think that Mark, Linda, Roy, and Sandra. So good.
And offer some suggestions because that is important to her.
So Terrence just said that. He said something is missing, maybe insecurity. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yep. She's insecure about the future and wants him to play in.
But she's hung in there for 47 years. So yes. But the tactic has not worked.
So you would think she would let this time, if that ain't working.
I'm just saying.
She would try a different tactic.
For 47 years, let me plan for the future. And every year the future has come. Or every day. Every 24 hours the future has come, right?
Yes.
So it's too nebulous.
Okay.
He might need some help.
He might need some help. Okay.
Might need some help in terms of, here's some suggestions, sweetheart. You know, I've been thinking about 6 months or a year from now, or here's some ideas that we could use for. You see, I'm saying the tactic has to change because it's not working. 47 years worth of doing the same thing doesn't make any sense. And it goes back to there's a communication challenge.
Right.
He's working part-time. She's completely retired, and there's no time together.
That's bad. All right,
which means you don't have a date night, which means you're not putting your relationship first, right? And I would say here, since it's an email and not a back and forth conversation with you, because he's really the one who has the conversations, that there are a lot of missing pieces. How could 47 years pass?
Okay.
Everybody's planning. So she has turned into a nag.
Yep.
So another approach.
Do not nag, folks. Do not nag. One of the things I told Dee earlier, don't nag. If you want me, just tell me what you want. And we don't nag. Here's another letter.
Okay, what's the resolution?
Resolution for that is don't nag. You hit it. Why don't you come to the table? Well, here's some of the things I want to do over the next couple of years. Do you agree with them?
What do you think?
What do you think about it?
I'm open to suggestions. So can we go forward with this?
I think that's good. Okay, great.
And they have to work on communicating because they don't do that.
They don't do that well, obviously. Obviously, they don't communicate.
And that's an oversimplification of an answer, but there's a communication problem. Somebody's got to study somebody. And since she seems to think that he's not willing, and she's got to study her mate.
She can't find a husband. He only works part-time. Karen said he's on the roof. All right. Anybody want to ask a question? A good time, but let me give you.
Or is there a suggestion for this lady?
Here's another question. I got to keep moving. We only got 15 minutes, and I got to tell the story about what happened with us this week. We need help. I don't know how to keep staying in this marriage. It'll be 19 years on the 30th. Only thing I think that keeps us together is we believe God brought us together. We are both divorced, and courted and didn't have sex before marriage. We tried to do this God's way instead of our own way, but obviously failed. But if we'd had premarital sex, I probably would never marry him. Sex is horrible. Ooh, ooh, ouch, ooh, ooh, ouch. Sex is horrible. And I've felt for years that he only married me so he could have sex because he so firmly believes sex should only happen inside a marriage. Our lives are miserable. He's constantly angry, just miserable to live with. And our kids feel it too. And our kids feel it too. He works all the time, and there's been a huge issue throughout our marriage. Now he's retired and started another company and works all the time still. Only time he touches me is in bed when he wants sex, with no other needs being met. That just makes me feel like a hooker. I just don't know how we can continue on. Woo!
Is that the end of it?
That's the end of it. That's the end of it. There's no more to be said. Woo! They need the book. Terrence said they need the book. First of all, the brother needs the book to understand that if you want something at night, you got to start working on it in the morning. Okay, you got to start being sweet talk. Hey, you look so good today. You look that. Just work on. She got some insecurities. That now part of the sex issue. Look, that's a communication. Maybe he doesn't know how. Maybe she hasn't told what she likes. Maybe they don't communicate well. So there are a number of things. One, there's communication. Second, she's unhappy. Third, he doesn't understand that women are women are crock pots. They are slow to get warm. Men are microwave ovens. You push a button, they ready to go. You need to work on this all day long. Let her know you're thinking about her, that she's on your mind. This is the little things. If they read the book, there would be less of this drama in their marriage. I can tell you. Your thoughts?
They need counseling, which is just like the other couple. Let me say why. Because we don't know. Again, when we get questions in, if there's not a back and forth conversation, you don't really know the underlying issues. Often it's not simply black and white. For example, when I read that, the first thing that I thought was he might be old school. Or how do you know that their culture is the same as our culture? And in some cultures, the woman is like the hooker. The man doesn't have, in some African countries, they cut the woman's vulva so she can't have no satisfaction.
Okay.
And so the goal is for the man to get satisfaction, irrespective of the female.
Okay.
So I'm saying, we don't know. Okay, he only wants to have sex with me. Well, maybe culturally, that's how he sees her role. Is that something that they did not discuss before they got married? Okay,
and Peggy had wanted to give a point about the first letter. The woman needs to have a goal for a discussion, no timeline for a discussion topic of the future. She needs to define the timeline of future, such as 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. What is the amount of time and a timeline she wants to discuss in the future? That's for the first one. That's good, Peggy. Thank you. And in terms of this question about this woman, and they didn't have premarital sex, and the sex didn't work, and they're not happy. This is, again, counseling, but more importantly, it's communication. Having a conversation and saying, that didn't work for me. Let's try something different.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but from a woman's perspective, depending upon the kind of man that you marry, how well you study them and all that ahead of time. Some men, just like we did a program and the lady said.
Yes, we're taking questions. Yes, go ahead. We'll take questions.
She said it. I married a man whose wife had passed away. I'm older. I had never been married before. And when I had sex with him, I was disappointed. I'm like, this is all, right? And he said, you don't know what it's all about because you haven't had sex before, So what a horrible thing to say to somebody. So I'm like, we're talking about communication here.
Ooh.
But in some instances, when one party knows everything, how are you going to have communication?
If you want to be anonymous and want to
so
send in a letter, send a quick letter to info@williejolly.com. Email info, info @williejolly.com if you want to be anonymous. Otherwise, you can put your letter or your question in the chat.
So I'm saying we don't have enough information, because it could be that his perspective is, you can't tell me how to have sex. I know how to stick it in and do it.
Ooh,
okay,
let me.
And I'm saying I have had women have conversations about that. And how do you have that conversation with your mate if his ego is attached to his penis and you tell him that it ain't working right? That's a problem.
That's a problem. Okay.
So how do you deal with that? It's not that easy. That's why I'm like, maybe you need to go to counseling individually to talk out. What kind of mate have you married?
I think he big baller shot caller. I'm gonna do it to you, baby.
But we're not saying he's not that. Okay.
What are you saying?
I'm saying his ego is.
I got that. We already.
So you don't want to destroy his ego.
We already said that, sweetie pie. You've made that perfectly clear. All right, let me get to this question from Emmanuel. Having had the sudden onset of 10 chronic illnesses, my girlfriend has been supportive for the last 8 months, even though our relationship synergy has been strained through the illness, because a lot of conversation is surrounding the illness. On top of that, I lost my savings and most of my money due to this, and as supported as my girlfriend has been, after my most recent trip to the hospital for a week, she hit a limit and has significant trauma, and she's tired. She also 39 and realizes. Okay, my question is, what should I do? Realize something. My question is, what should I do from the position I'm in to improve the morale of the relationship? She's considering taking space due to being 39, wanting a family, and seeing it maybe sometime before I'm very stable again. We've been together 3 years. Okay, your health has been affected, and she's now concerned. I think this is one of those points where you have to have those, what we call the critical conversations, and say, we got to have a critical conversation about where we go from here. You know, you are very open about the fact you've had health challenges. She has said this is overwhelming to her. So this is a point where you see the state of your friendship and your relationship. Is it only for the good times? Because you need to know that now before you get married. They said, you know, when you get married, you say, I take you for better, for worse, rich or poor, sickness and health. And those who have done that and make that commitment are really committed to the longevity of the relationship. We went to interview some years ago a lady who had cancer out in Maryland. Her husband sat by her bedside through all the different cancers and never left her. He said, I made a vow and I kept that vow. And so this lady might not be the right one if she's not willing to hang with you through these challenging times as you recover.
Anybody,
right.
You're talking about having a 4F conversation. You just need to quickly say what that is.
Friendly, be frank about your feelings, be fair, and be focused on a win-win.
And so fair in this case is what is good for her and what is good for you. And you might not be on the same page.
That's correct.
She's 39 years old. She's running out of time. Does she feel bad? I've cared for this person. I've been through all these things. But gee whiz, is it selfish for me at 39 years of age to say that I want to have a baby?
Huh? I don't know.
No, I'm like, this is what. So this is the kind of conversation that you guys have.
Y'all have to have that critical conversation.
That is a difficult conversation. And are you willing to let her go and not feel bad if she says, it is so important to me to have a baby, and if you're not able to do that, can you let me go?
Right. So the answer is your question. What should you do? You should have a critical conversation. Right. That's what you should do.
Totally uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, but critical. These are critical conversations you must have. Use the 4 Fs. Okay. Now, Terrence, you said something that just brought a thought to my mind. We were having a conversation with a mentor who's 94 years old. And he said, it takes 2. He said it takes 2 to tango, and it takes 2 to tangle. Okay, so it takes two to tango where the good times are, but it takes two to have an argument. If you choose not to participate, the other person is standing there looking like a fool, hollering and screaming. So takes two to tango, takes two to tango. Now, let me tell you, I told you one last thing, and we're going to have to end our show. This week, I'm going to show you a life lesson about how our marriage works. And we share with one of our mentees. So my wife for years has told me, do not leave your wallet in the car when you go to the gym. Now, I have a car that's electric. It's got a...
Obviously, he doesn't listen.
I don't listen. Okay. So last week, Wednesday, I left the car, the wallet in the car, went to the gym, came back home, and I couldn't find the wallet when it was time to go out to a dinner meeting. And last time I remembered it was in the car. I couldn't remember bringing it in or not bringing it in. When I came back from the dinner meeting, I'm freaking out. I go to my wife and I said to her, I can't find my wallet. She said, when was the last time you saw it? When I left it in the car when I was at the gym. Now, one of my coaching clients would have said, his wife would at that point said, I told you not to leave that wallet in the car. I told you. Now look what the mess you've done. That's not what Dee said. Dee said, okay, let's go to work. Let's get the credit card companies on the phone.
No, first thing I said, let's freeze the
credit. And then she said, after she said freeze the credit, next, let's call her the credit card. She never said.
I pulled out my information sheet with the passwords, the numbers.
But I want to get to the point. She never said, I told you. And folks, that's one of the reasons why we have been married for so long without arguing. We don't attack each other. We attack the problem. Write that one down. Right? Write that one down, Emmanuel. Write that one down. Anybody else who has issues, don't attack each other. Attack the problem. Gang up on the problem and you'll win more. Our time is up. Look, again, go to jollymarriage.com/events. Get the relationship repair series. I want to thank everybody for sending their questions. We'll see you next Monday night. Lots of good stuff is happening. The Today Show opened up lots of new opportunities. Hopefully, y'all will be seeing and hearing more soon. Thank you. I'm enjoying my birthday. I'm about to jump off here and eat some more crabs.
I'm going to bed.
And she's going to bed.
I broke down.
She broke down. She put on a great show. She did it for me because she hates having all these folks over my house. Hey, Dee, write the book to help the wife. Okay, that's what Terrence said. Dee, write the book to help the wife. Hey, love y'all. God bless you. Let's go out on my music. Thank y'all for sending your questions. Here we go.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.